Captain Daeho Kim was drinking his morning coffee when the universe changed forever. His ship, the Indomitable Spirit, was 3 days out from the Kepler 442 system when the sensors started screaming. Something massive had just appeared out of nowhere. "Captain, you need to see this," called out Navigator Hanul Park from her station. Her voice carried that special tone people use when they cannot believe what they are looking at. Daeho set down his coffee cup and walked to the main display. What he saw made him stop breathing for a moment. A structure the size of a small moon hung in space before them. It was black as night but covered in glowing blue lines that pulsed like a heartbeat. The thing looked nothing like human technology. It looked ancient and powerful and completely alien. "How big is that thing?" Daeho asked. "About 800 kilometers across, sir," Hanul replied. It just appeared. No warning, no energy signature before it showed up. It is like it was always there but invisible. Communications Officer Young-Soo Lee suddenly straightened at his station. "Captain, it is broadcasting something. On all frequencies. Every single one. Put it through the main speakers," Daeho ordered. The voice that filled the bridge was cold and mechanical. It spoke perfect standard Galactic, the language used for trade between different alien species. But there was something wrong with how it spoke. Each word came out like it was carved from ice. "Attention, human vessels. You have entered territory claimed by the Vorthak Empire. Your species has been identified as a minor galactic civilization. You will cease all expansion beyond your current borders. You will surrender control of your military forces to Empire representatives. You will prepare your population for integration into the Empire as a servant class. You have 1 solar rotation to comply with these demands. Failure to comply will result in the total elimination of your species. This message will repeat." The bridge went completely quiet. Everyone stared at the speakers like they might start talking again. Finally, Hanul spoke up. "Did they just tell us to surrender or die?" "That is exactly what they did," Daeho said. He walked back to his captain's chair and sat down. Then he started laughing. It was not a nervous laugh or a scared laugh. It was the kind of laugh someone makes when they hear a really good joke. Soon Young-Soo started chuckling. Then Hanul began giggling. Within minutes, the entire bridge crew was laughing like they had just heard the funniest thing in the galaxy. Should we respond to them?" Young-Soo asked between laughs. Daeho wiped tears from his eyes. "Oh yes, we should definitely respond. Young-Soo, open a channel to that thing." "Channel open, sir." Daeho cleared his throat and put on his most polite voice. "This is Captain Daeho Kim of the Terran Federation vessel Indomitable Spirit. We received your message. Thank you for the information about your empire. We will pass your demands along to our government. However, I should mention that humans do not typically respond well to threats. We tend to find them entertaining rather than frightening. We hope you understand." "Kim out." He nodded to Young-Soo, who closed the channel. The alien structure did not respond. "Set course for Earth," Daeho ordered. "Best possible speed. And send a priority message to Terran Command. Tell them we have made first contact with something called the Vorthak Empire, and they want us to surrender." "What should I say about our response, sir?" Young-Soo asked. "Tell them we told the aliens that humans find threats entertaining," Daeho said with a grin. Back on Earth, Admiral Yoonji Park was having a very different kind of day. She had been reviewing supply reports in her office at Terran Naval Command when her aide burst through the door without knocking. "Admiral, we have an emergency transmission from Captain Kim," the young officer said. "Priority Alpha, first contact protocols." Yoonji felt her stomach drop. First contact with aliens was something humans had been preparing for, but no one expected it to happen like this. "Put it through." She listened to Kim's report twice before she fully understood what she was hearing. Then she called an emergency meeting of the Federation Council. 2 hours later, the most important people in human government sat around a conference table in Geneva. President Mi Young-cho looked tired but alert. Defense Secretary Jin-Woo Chang kept checking his tablet for updates. Dr. Sang-Woo Lee, the Federation's top expert on alien life, sat quietly taking notes. "Let me make sure I understand this correctly," President Cho said. "An alien empire we have never heard of just told us to surrender, or they will kill every human in the galaxy." "That is correct, Madam President," Admiral Park confirmed. "They gave us 1 day to comply. And Captain Kim told them that humans find threats entertaining?" "Yes, ma'am. That is also correct." President Cho was quiet for a long moment. Then she started smiling. It was the same kind of smile Deho had when he heard the ultimatum. "Dr. Lee, what do we know about this Vorthak Empire?" she asked. Dr. Lee looked up from his notes. "Nothing at all, Madam President. But I have been monitoring galactic communication networks since Kim's report came in. The results are interesting." "How so?" "Every alien species we have contact with received similar ultimatums, and every single one of them immediately sent surrender messages. The Centaurians surrendered in 4 minutes. The Altarians took 6 minutes. Even the Rigelians, who we thought were pretty tough, gave up in 11 minutes. Defense Secretary Chang leaned forward. "How long has it been since we got our ultimatum?" Dr. Lee checked his chronometer. 3 hours and 47 minutes. "And we have not surrendered yet," President Cho observed. "No, ma'am. In fact, Captain Kim is on his way here to deliver a full report. Several other ship captains have also requested permission to investigate the alien structure." President Cho stood up and walked to the window. Outside, she could see the busy streets of Geneva. People were going about their daily lives, completely unaware that an alien empire had just threatened to kill them all. "Admiral Park, I want you to begin mobilization of all military forces. Recall every ship, activate all reserves, and put our defense stations on high alert." "Yes, ma'am. Should I tell them why?" "Tell them we have made contact with an alien empire that seems to think humans are easy to frighten. Tell them we are going to prove them wrong." Admiral Park smiled. It was becoming a popular expression in human government today. Dr. Lee raised his hand. "Madam President, should we attempt to communicate with other human colonies? Warn them about the threat?" "Absolutely. But do not tell them to prepare for evacuation. Tell them to prepare for war." As the meeting broke up, President Cho remained at the window. In a few hours, she would need to address the entire Federation. She would need to tell 40 billion humans that an alien empire wanted them to surrender or die. She was already looking forward to seeing how humans would react to that news. If her guess was right, the Vorthak Empire was about to learn something very important about human nature. Humans did not surrender. They got curious. And when humans got curious about something that threatened them, that something usually ended up regretting it. The galaxy was about to become a much more interesting place. Admiral Yoonji Park had not slept in 36 hours, but she felt more awake than she had in years. The command center at Mars Station buzzed with activity as hundreds of officers worked to transform human space into a fortress. "Status report," she called out to her staff. "Commander Jin Woo." Nam looked up from his tactical display. "All mining ships in the outer systems have been recalled. The conversion teams are working around the clock to mount weapons on anything that can fly. We should have an extra 400 combat-capable vessels within the week." "What about the defense platforms?" Chief Engineer So-Young Kim is handling those personally. She says she can turn every major asteroid in the belt into a weapons platform. Her exact words were, "If these aliens want to visit our neighborhood, we should give them a proper welcome." Admiral Park smiled. Chief Engineer Kim had a gift for understatement. "And our reconnaissance mission? Commander Nam is ready to depart within the hour," said Communications Officer Yoojin Bai. 12 stealth ships, full sensor packages. They want to get a close look at what we are dealing with. Commander Nam nodded. "My pilots are excited about this, Admiral. Most of them have never seen alien technology before. They are treating this like a field trip." Admiral Park shook her head. Only humans would be excited about flying toward an alien empire that had just threatened to destroy them all. "Be careful out there, Commander. We need information, not heroes." "Understood, ma'am. Though I should mention that Lieutenant Heejin Kang asked if she could collect some alien technology samples while she is out there. Tell Lieutenant Kang that she can collect all the samples she wants, as long as she brings them back alive." 3 hours later, Commander Nam's stealth squadron was on its way to the edge of human space. The 12 ships moved silently through the dark, their advanced sensors scanning everything around them. Nam himself was piloting the lead ship when they reached the coordinates where Captain Kim had encountered the alien structure. It was gone, but the space around it told a story. "Commander," called out sensor specialist Tae Hyun Yu, "I am picking up energy signatures. Lots of them. They are moving this way." Nam felt his heart start beating faster. "How many?" "I count at least 50 large contacts. Each one is bigger than our largest battleship. And there are smaller ones too. Hundreds of them." Lieutenant Kang's voice came through the communication system from her ship. "Commander, you need to see this. I am forwarding my sensor data now." Nam looked at his display and felt his mouth go dry. The Vorthak fleet was enormous. Each of their main ships was over 1 kilometer long. They bristled with weapons that looked like they could crack planets. And there were so many of them. How many total? Nam asked. At least 3,000 major combatants, Yu replied. Plus support vessels. This fleet could destroy every ship we have and barely notice. Nam was quiet for a moment. Then he started grinning. Well, this should be interesting. All ships begin detailed scans. I want to know everything about these vessels. What they are made of. How they move, what their weak spots might be. We are going to give our people the best intelligence report they have ever seen. For the next 6 hours, the human stealth ships moved like ghosts through the edges of the alien fleet. They recorded everything. Ship designs, energy patterns, communication frequencies, formation tactics. The aliens never detected them. What they found was both terrifying and encouraging. Lieutenant Kang was the first to notice the pattern. Commander, these ships are built for intimidation, not efficiency. Look at this design analysis. They have massive energy cannons, but the power systems are spread out over huge distances. If you could hit the right spot, you might disable an entire section. What else do you see? Their formation flying is perfect. Too perfect. They move like they are following a script. No improvisation at all, and their communication system is completely centralized. Everything goes through command ships. Commander Nam nodded. So if we could disrupt their communications, they would have trouble coordinating, Kang finished. These are not ships designed for real combat. They are designed to make enemies surrender without fighting. That explains why every other species gave up so quickly, said Yu. Who would want to fight something that looks this powerful? Humans would, Nam said simply. All right, people, we have what we came for. Time to head home and share the good news. Good news, sir? Asked Kang. The good news is that these aliens have never fought anyone who fought back. We are about to give them a learning experience they will never forget. Back on Earth, Dr. Sang-Woo Lee was having his own learning experience. He had spent 2 days analyzing every piece of Vorthak communication the humans had intercepted. What he found changed everything. Admiral Park, you need to see this, he said as he burst into her office. What did you find, Doctor? The Vorthak Empire has been expanding for over 1,000 years. In all that time, they have never fought a single real war. Every species they encountered either surrendered immediately or was destroyed so quickly that it barely counted as a battle. Admiral Park sat back in her chair. So they are inexperienced in actual combat? More than that. Their entire military doctrine is based on overwhelming psychological impact. They show up with massive fleets, deliver ultimatums, and wait for surrender. When someone does not surrender immediately, they destroy 1 or 2 targets as an example, and the rest of the species gives up. But we are not giving up. Exactly. And that is breaking their system. I have been monitoring their internal communications. They are confused. Their commanders are asking for instructions about what to do when a species does not surrender. They have no protocols for extended conflict. Admiral Park started smiling. Doctor, you may have just told me how to win this war. There is more, Admiral. I think I know why other species surrender so easily. The Vorthak are not just threatening military destruction. They are threatening complete species extinction. Most civilizations cannot imagine surviving that kind of threat. But humans can. Humans have been facing extinction events since we first walked out of Africa. Ice ages, supervolcano eruptions, asteroid impacts, plagues. We survived all of them. Not only did we survive, we thrived. We turned disasters into opportunities. Dr. Lee pulled up a holographic display showing human expansion across the galaxy. Look at our colonization pattern. We do not just settle the easy worlds. We terraform hostile planets, build cities in asteroid belts, establish research stations in the middle of dangerous nebulae. Other species settle safe worlds and stay there. Humans actively look for challenges. So when the Vorthak threaten us with extinction, we see it as just another problem to solve. A very interesting problem. Admiral Park was quiet for a moment. Then she activated her communication system. Get me President Cho, priority channel. A few minutes later, the president's face appeared on her screen. Admiral, what do you have for me? Madam President, I believe we can win this war. But we need to let the galaxy know what we are doing. Every species that has already surrendered needs to see that resistance is possible. What do you have in mind? I want to broadcast our military preparations on all galactic frequencies. Let everyone watch as humans get ready to fight an empire that has never lost a war. President Cho was quiet for a moment. Then she started laughing. Admiral, that is either the most brilliant psychological warfare campaign in galactic history, or the most elaborate way to commit suicide ever devised. Yes, ma'am. That is exactly what I was thinking. Do it. And Admiral, make sure our people know they are not just fighting for humanity. They are fighting to show the galaxy that no empire is too powerful to resist. As the communication ended, Admiral Park looked out at the busy command center. In a few hours, she would address the Federation military. She would tell them that they were about to fight the most powerful empire in galactic history. She was looking forward to seeing how they reacted to that news. If her experience with humans was any guide, they would probably ask for better weapons and start making jokes about alien overconfidence. The Vorthak Empire was about to learn that some species do not frighten easily. Some species get more dangerous when threatened. Some species were human. War Marshal Korthak had conquered 47 star systems without losing a single ship. He was considered the most successful military commander in Vorthak history, so when the Empire sent him to deal with the humans, he expected it to be routine. He did not expect to find the entire Sol system turned into a weapons platform. Report, he commanded from his flagship, the Eternal Dominion. The massive vessel was 3 kilometers long and carried enough firepower to sterilize planets. War Marshal, the humans have fortified every celestial body in their system, reported his intelligence officer. Jupiter's moons have been converted into artillery platforms. The asteroid belt contains thousands of automated weapon systems. Even their homeworld's moon has been armed. Korthak studied the tactical display with growing confusion. This is not standard defensive doctrine. They are not trying to protect their colonies. They are trying to turn their entire system into a trap. There is more, War Marshal. They are broadcasting their preparations on all galactic frequencies. Every species in the galaxy can watch what they are doing. That makes no sense. Why would they reveal their defensive positions? We believe it is psychological warfare, War Marshal. They want other species to see them resisting. Korthak felt a cold anger building in his chest. In 1,000 years, no species had dared to broadcast resistance against the Empire. It was not just defiance. It was an insult. Begin the siege. Standard formation. We will destroy their outer defenses first, then move in to eliminate their homeworld. Make sure our actions are also broadcast. The galaxy needs to see what happens to species that resist. But as the Vorthak fleet moved into the Sol system, they quickly realized that nothing about this battle would be standard. Captain Daeho Kim watched the alien fleet approach from the bridge of his new command, the Indomitable Spirit II. His original ship had been destroyed in the first skirmish with Vorthak scouts, but the humans had rebuilt it bigger and better in just 2 weeks. Contact Admiral Park, he told his communications officer. Tell her the main event is about to begin. From Mars Command, Admiral Yoonji Park coordinated the defense of humanity's home system. She had spent months turning Sol into the most dangerous place in the galaxy for uninvited guests. All stations. This is Mars Command. The alien fleet is entering weapons range. Remember, we are not trying to win a conventional battle. We are trying to show them that humans do not surrender. Make every shot count. The first exchange of fire lit up the space around Jupiter. Vorthak energy beams struck human defense platforms, destroying several instantly. But for every platform they destroyed, 3 more opened fire from hidden positions. Lieutenant Ja-Hyun Kwan piloted her modified research vessel, Curiosity Killed, through the chaos of the Jupiter engagement. Her mission was simple in theory and impossible in practice. Get close enough to the Vorthak flagship to upload a computer virus designed by Chief Engineer So-Young Kim. This is Curiosity Killed to Mars Command. She broadcast on open channels. Beginning our delivery run. If this works, we will seriously mess up their day. If it does not work, please tell my mother I was thinking about her home cooking when I died. Her casual tone as she flew toward certain death became legendary within hours. Across the galaxy, beings who had never heard of humans before listened to a young woman joke about death while flying directly at the most powerful warship ever built. Curiosity Killed. This is Mars Command. Are you sure about this approach vector? Admiral Park's voice came through clearly. Admiral, I have never been sure about anything in my life, Ja-Hyun replied cheerfully. But I am pretty sure these aliens need to learn about human customer service. We always deliver what we promise. The Vorthak flagship noticed her approach and directed dozens of weapons toward her small ship. Jahyun flew through the weapon fire like she was dancing, spinning and diving between energy beams with impossible skill. Curiosity killed to anyone listening, she broadcast. I am now close enough to see inside their windows. These aliens really need to work on their interior decorating. Everything is so dark and depressing. No wonder they are so grumpy. She reached the flagship's hull and attached her ship's docking clamp to their communication array. Uploading our software update now. This might take a few minutes. I hope they do not mind the wait. Chief Engineer Kim's virus was a masterpiece of human ingenuity. It did not just attack Vorthak computer systems. It learned from them, adapted to them, and then turned them against their users. Within minutes of Jahyun's upload, Vorthak ships across the fleet began experiencing system failures. Weapons powered down unexpectedly. Navigation systems displayed wrong coordinates. Communication arrays broadcast human music instead of military orders. But the virus did more than create chaos. It began transmitting everything it learned about Vorthak technology to human forces throughout the system. Mars Command, this is Chief Engineer Kim, came the excited voice over the tactical network. The virus is working better than we hoped. We are getting detailed technical specifications on every Vorthak system. I can see exactly how their ships work now. Admiral Park felt a surge of hope. Can you use that information? Admiral, I can use it to turn their own ships into our weapons. Give me 10 minutes and I will show you something amazing. War Marshal Korthak watched his perfect fleet fall apart with growing horror. Half his ships could not fire their weapons. A quarter could not navigate properly. And somehow human ships were appearing everywhere at once, striking from impossible angles and disappearing before his forces could respond. How are they doing this? He demanded. War Marshal, they appear to have infiltrated our computer network. They are using our own systems against us. That is impossible. Our security systems are impenetrable. Yes, War Marshal. That is what we thought too. Across the Sol system, the battle raged for 18 hours. Human defense platforms sacrificed themselves to destroy Vorthak dreadnoughts. Converted civilian ships rammed alien vessels while their crews escaped in emergency pods. Fighter pilots performed maneuvers that should have killed them, but somehow worked perfectly. Captain Taemin Park, Admiral Park's son, led a squadron of volunteers in the most dangerous mission of the battle. They had to destroy a Vorthak planet-killer weapon before it could target Earth. This is reckless determination to all squadrons, he broadcast. We are going to fly directly into the barrel of that weapon and blow it up from the inside. I know this sounds crazy, but crazy is what we do best. His squadron of 12 ships dove straight toward the massive weapon, ignoring the defensive fire that filled space around them. Half his pilots died in the approach, but the survivors reached their target. Reckless determination to Mars Command, Taemin reported as his ship entered the weapon's barrel. We are inside. Setting charges now. Tell my mother I love her and that humans are still undefeated. The explosion that followed lit up the entire system. The planet-killer weapon was destroyed, taking 3 Vorthak capital ships with it. By the end of the first day, both fleets had taken terrible losses. But something had changed. Reports were flooding in from across the galaxy. Species that had surrendered to the Empire were suddenly asking questions about human tactics. Some were even beginning to prepare their own defenses. Dr. Sangwoo Lee monitored the galactic communication networks from his research station on Europa. What he saw amazed him. Admiral Park, you need to hear this, he called over the tactical network. The Centaurian government just asked our embassy for technical specifications on anti-Vorthak weapons. The Altarians want to know how we converted civilian ships for combat. Even the Rigelians are asking about our defensive strategies. Admiral Park smiled despite her exhaustion. Dr. Lee, I think we just started something bigger than a war. I think we started a revolution. There is more, Admiral. I am intercepting Vorthak internal communications. Their commanders are panicking. They have never dealt with sustained resistance before. War Marshal Korthak is requesting reinforcements, but the Empire's other fleets are having their own problems. Apparently, 12 other species have decided to stop cooperating with Vorthak occupation forces. So our resistance is inspiring others? More than inspiring, Admiral. We are teaching them. Every tactic we use gets copied within hours. Every successful attack gets repeated by someone else. The humans are not just fighting the Empire. We are showing the galaxy how to fight. As the second day of battle began, War Marshal Korthak faced a reality no Vorthak commander had ever confronted. His enemy was not weakening. They were getting stronger. Every hour of combat taught them more about his forces. Every loss made them more determined, and across the galaxy, their resistance was spreading like a virus through the Empire's vast territories. For the first time in 1,000 years, the Vorthak Empire was learning what it meant to fight an enemy that refused to surrender. They were learning what it meant to fight humans. The virus that Lieutenant Jahyun Kwan had uploaded to the Vorthak flagship 6 months ago was still spreading. What started as a simple computer attack had become something much more dangerous to the Empire. It had become an idea. Dr. Sang-Woo Lee watched the galactic communication networks from his new command center on Titan. The transformation happening across the galaxy amazed him every day. "Admiral Park, you need to see the latest intelligence reports," he called over the secure channel. Admiral Yoon-ji Park's face appeared on his screen. She looked tired but satisfied. The siege of Seoul had ended 3 months ago, when War Marshal Korthek retreated with what remained of his fleet. But the real war was just beginning. "What do you have for me, Doctor?" 47 star systems have declared independence from the Vorthak Empire in the last month. The Centaurians have built a fleet using our ship designs. The Altarians are teaching other species how to make human-style computer viruses. Even the Rigelians have started making jokes during combat operations. Admiral Park laughed. "The Rigelians are making jokes? Those people are usually as serious as a funeral." "That is not the best part, Admiral. The Vorthak Empire has lost contact with entire sectors. Their communication network is so compromised that they cannot coordinate their forces, and everywhere they try to re-establish control, they find resistance fighters using human tactics." Captain Taemin Park entered the conversation from his flagship, Humanity's Answer. He had been promoted to fleet captain after the destruction of the planet killer weapon, and now commanded a joint task force of human and alien vessels. "Dr. Lee is being modest," Taemin said with a grin. "Tell her about the Vorthak surrender requests." "Surrender requests?" Admiral Park asked. Dr. Lee looked embarrassed. 17 different Vorthak colonial governors have contacted us asking for terms of surrender. They want to negotiate safe passage out of systems that have rebelled against the Empire. And what did we tell them? We told them to ask the local populations. "We are not conquering the Empire, Admiral. We are liberating it." Admiral Park shook her head in amazement. 6 months ago, the Vorthak Empire controlled half the galaxy. Now they are asking us for help with their own rebellious colonies. "There is something else," Dr. Lee continued. "We have been monitoring Emperor Vorthak Prime's communications. He is preparing to use something called the core weapon. Our analysis suggests it is some kind of doomsday device." Admiral Park's expression became serious. "How dangerous?" "It can sterilize entire star systems, Admiral. Kill every living thing in multiple solar systems at once. He is planning to use it against any system that has declared independence, including Earth. Earth would be his primary target." Captain Taemin leaned forward. "Admiral, we cannot let him use that weapon, not just because it would kill us, but because it would kill billions of innocent people throughout the galaxy." Admiral Park was quiet for a moment. Then she made a decision that would change galactic history. "Dr. Lee, send a message to every rebel system, every independence movement, and every species that has been fighting the Empire. Tell them we are going to stop the core weapon, but we need their help." "What kind of help, Admiral?" "We are going to attack the galactic core, the Empire's most heavily defended territory, their ancient stronghold. We need every ship that can fly and every person who can fight." Ambassador Su Jin Han was negotiating with the Centaurian rebel fleet when Admiral Park's message arrived. The meeting was taking place in the ruins of a Vorthak space station, with human and alien officers working side by side to plan their next operations. "The humans want to attack the galactic core," she announced to the assembled commanders. "They are asking for volunteers." The response surprised even her. Every alien commander in the room immediately volunteered their forces. The Centaurian fleet admiral actually started laughing. "Ambassador, 6 months ago our people surrendered to the Empire in 4 minutes. Today, we are volunteering to attack their strongest fortress. What have you humans done to us?" "We showed you that surrender is not the only option," Su Jin replied simply. "We showed you that even the most powerful empire can be resisted. And now you want us to help you destroy it completely? We want you to help us save the galaxy from a weapon that could kill billions of innocent people. The choice is yours." The Centaurian admiral looked around the room at the other commanders. Then he smiled. "Ambassador, I think I speak for everyone here when I say that we would be honored to fight alongside humans. You taught us courage. Now let us show you that we learned the lesson well. 3 weeks later, the largest fleet in galactic history assembled at the edge of human space. 5,000 ships from dozens of different species, all united under human tactical command. Captain Taman Park stood on the bridge of his flagship and marveled at what he saw. "Fleet status report," he called out. His tactical officer, a young Altarian named Vex, consulted her displays. "All squadrons report ready, Captain. The Centaurian heavy cruisers are in position. The Rigelian fighter wings are prepared. The human stealth squadrons are already moving toward their jump points. What about our secret weapons?" Chief Engineer So-Young Kim's voice came over the communication system from her mobile workshop. "Captain, I have been working with engineers from 12 different species for the last month. What we have created is either going to be the most effective fleet weapon in galactic history, or the most expensive fireworks display ever produced." "I like those odds," Taimin replied. "All right, people. Today we end 1,000 years of tyranny. Today we show the galaxy that no empire is too powerful to fall. All ships begin jump sequence." The fleet entered hyperspace in perfect formation, heading for the galactic core where Emperor Vorthak Prime waited with his doomsday weapon and the remnants of his empire. But they were not just carrying weapons and ships. They were carrying something much more dangerous to tyranny. They were carrying hope. Across the galaxy, billions of beings watched the broadcasts from the rebel fleet. They saw humans and aliens working together as equals. They saw species that had been enemies for centuries fighting side by side. They saw what the galaxy could become when fear was replaced by courage. In the depths of space, on worlds both free and enslaved, people looked up at the stars and wondered if they too could find the courage to resist. The human example was spreading faster than any weapon, more powerful than any army. Emperor Vorthak Prime sat in his fortress at the galactic core, surrounded by the most powerful weapons his empire had ever created. He had ruled for over 200 years and his empire had seemed eternal, but now he faced something he had never encountered before. An enemy that grew stronger with each defeat, that turned losses into victories, that inspired others by example rather than ruling through fear. He was facing humans, and their idea of resistance. War Marshal Korthak entered the Emperor's chamber with the latest intelligence reports. His once perfect uniform was now worn and stained from months of constant warfare. "Your Majesty, the rebel fleet has entered the core systems. They are larger than we estimated." "Much larger. How large?" 5,000 ships, Your Majesty. And more are arriving every hour. It appears that every species we have conquered is sending forces to join them." Emperor Vorthak Prime stared at the tactical displays showing the approaching fleet. "Activate the core weapon. We will destroy them all at once. Your Majesty, using the weapon will also destroy dozens of our own systems, billions of our own citizens. Better that than allowing this rebellion to spread further. Give the order." As the core weapon began charging, its energy signature was detected by human sensors throughout the galaxy. The doomsday device that could sterilize star systems was preparing to fire, but the humans had spent months preparing for this moment. And they had a plan that even they were not sure would work. Chief Engineer Kim's voice came over the fleet communication system as the core weapon reached full power. "All ships. This is Chief Engineer Kim. Remember, we only get one chance at this. If our calculations are wrong, we will all be very dead very quickly. But if we are right, we are about to give the Emperor a demonstration of human engineering that he will never forget. Assuming he survives to remember it," Captain Taemin added cheerfully. "That is the plan, Captain. Ready all ships. Let us go save the galaxy." The core weapon was the size of a small moon and had been built over centuries. It drew power from the galactic core's black hole itself, channeling enough energy to sterilize entire star systems. Emperor Vorthak Prime had never used it before because he had never needed to. Until now. Chief Scientist Junho Shin watched the weapon charge from his position aboard the research vessel Impossible Things. He had spent months studying captured Vorthak technology, looking for a way to stop the doomsday device. "Captain Park, the weapon will reach full charge in 30 minutes, he reported to the fleet commander. "After that, it can fire continuously. Every shot will destroy everything in a 10-light-year radius." Captain Taemin Park's voice came back calm and steady. "Dr. Shin, please tell me you have figured out how to stop it." I have good news and bad news, Captain. The good news is that we can stop it. The bad news is that we have to fly directly into its barrel while it is charging. That sounds like a suicide mission. Oh, it definitely is a suicide mission. But the volunteers for the mission keep increasing. Apparently, a lot of people want to be remembered as the ones who stopped the most dangerous weapon in galactic history. Volunteer Commander Hei-Wan Lee piloted her ship, absolutely reckless, at the head of the suicide squadron. Behind her flew 24 more ships, each crewed by volunteers from different species. This is absolutely reckless to all squadrons, she broadcast on open channels. I want to thank everyone for volunteering for this mission. I know we are probably all going to die, but at least we will die doing something important. And if we survive, we will have the best story to tell at parties for the rest of our lives. Her casual attitude toward impending death had become famous throughout the galaxy. Beings who had never heard human laughter before were learning to laugh in the face of danger. Emperor Vorthak Prime watched the approaching suicide squadron with confusion. They are flying directly toward the weapon. Do they not understand what it will do to them? War Marshal Korthak studied the tactical display. Your Majesty, I believe they understand perfectly. They are trying to destroy the weapon before it can fire. That is impossible. The weapon is protected by our entire remaining fleet. Yes, Your Majesty, but these are humans. The battle for the galactic core was unlike anything in recorded history. The Vorthak Empire's final fleet was enormous and desperate. But the Rebel Alliance was something no empire had ever faced before. A military force that fought not for conquest, but for liberation. Captain Dae-Ho Kim commanded the main assault from his flagship, Indomitable Spirit III. His original ship had been destroyed twice now, but humans kept rebuilding it bigger and better each time. All squadrons, this is Kim. Remember, we are not here to destroy the Empire. We are here to free it. Every Vorthak citizen who surrenders gets safe passage. Every Vorthak commander who lays down weapons gets fair treatment. We are liberators, not conquerors. The response from his mixed human-alien fleet was enthusiastic. Species that had been enemies for centuries were working together like they had trained for years. The Centaurian heavy cruisers punched through the Empire's outer defenses. The Altarian fighter wings swarmed the Vorthak escort ships. The Rigelian battleships, painted with human-style war slogans, engaged the enemy dreadnoughts with tactics they had learned from human instructors. But the real battle was happening inside the core weapon itself. Commander Hei-Wan Lee's suicide squadron had somehow made it past the outer defenses and was now flying through the weapon's massive barrel. The energy building up around them was enough to vaporize their ships instantly. But Chief Engineer So-Young Kim's modifications were keeping them alive. Absolutely reckless to Fleet Command, Hei-Wan reported cheerfully. We are inside the weapon. I can see the main charging chamber. It is very big and very bright, also very hot. Dr. Shin, your calculations better be right about this. Dr. Shin's voice came back over the communication system. Commander, you need to reach the central power, coupling and attach our device exactly where I showed you. You will have about 30 seconds before the weapon notices what you are doing and tries to kill you. 30 seconds? That is plenty of time. I once ate an entire bowl of kimchi in 20 seconds. As she flew deeper into the weapon, Hei-Wan could see the true scale of what the Empire had built. The charging chamber was the size of a city. Energy that could destroy star systems swirled around her ship like a hurricane of light. Approaching the target, she reported, beginning attachment sequence. Security Chief Boram Kang was leading the assault on the Emperor's fortress when she heard Hei-Wan's final transmission, absolutely reckless to all stations. Device attached. Dr. Shin's gadget is in place. If this works, the weapon should overload and destroy itself. If it does not work, well, you probably will not hear from us again. It has been an honor serving with you all. The explosion that followed could be seen from halfway across the galaxy. The core weapon, the most powerful device ever built, tore itself apart in a chain reaction that lit up the galactic core like a newborn star. When the light faded, the weapon was gone. Commander Hei-Wan Lee and her volunteers were gone too, but their sacrifice had saved billions of lives across the galaxy. Emperor Vorthak Prime stared at the empty space where his ultimate weapon had been just moments before. Around him, his ancient fortress shook as human and alien forces fought their way through his defenses. "Your Majesty," War Marshal Korthak said quietly, "our remaining forces are requesting permission to surrender." Surrender? The Emperor's voice was filled with disbelief. "The Vorthak Empire does not surrender." "Your Majesty, the Empire is finished. We have lost contact with 90% of our territory. Our fleets are destroyed. Our weapon is gone, and the humans are offering fair treatment to anyone who stops fighting." Before the Emperor could respond, the fortress's main doors exploded inward. Security Chief Boram Kang strode through the smoke, followed by a mixed team of human and alien soldiers. "Emperor Vorthak Prime," she announced formally, "you are under arrest for crimes against sentient life, illegal use of weapons of mass destruction, and really bad interior decorating." The Emperor stared at her. "You are arresting me?" "Yes, Your Majesty. You have the right to remain silent, though I suspect you will want to talk. You have the right to legal representation. You have the right to fair treatment under the Galactic War Crimes Convention, which we just wrote last week." War Marshal Korthak stepped forward. "I surrender my forces to the Rebel Alliance. I request fair treatment for my soldiers." Boram nodded. "Granted. Your soldiers will be processed and released. You will face trial for war crimes, but you will get a fair hearing." 6 months later, President Mi Young-cho stood before the first Galactic Congress in recorded history. Representatives from thousands of species filled the great hall that had been built in the ruins of the Empire's former capital. "Friends," she began, "we gather here not as conquerors but as liberators. We have not destroyed the Vorthak Empire to replace it with a human empire. We have destroyed tyranny to make room for freedom." The response was thunderous applause from beings who had never been allowed to applaud anything before. Dr. Sang-woo, Lee sat in the scientific council section, watching history being made. His analysis of the war's aftermath showed something remarkable. Across the galaxy, species were adopting human ideas and customs, not because they were forced to, but because they chose to. The human tendency to laugh at danger had spread like a virus through galactic civilization. The human habit of treating impossible problems as interesting puzzles was being copied by species that had never shown curiosity before. Most importantly, the human refusal to accept that any situation was hopeless had become a galactic philosophy. Admiral Yoonji Park, now retired, sat in the military observer section. She watched as former enemies worked together to establish new governments, new trade agreements, and new friendships. Captain Dae-ho Kim had been promoted to admiral and was training the new Galactic Defense Force. His students came from dozens of species, all learning human tactical doctrine and human military customs. The most popular course was titled Creative Problem Solving Under Impossible Circumstances. The textbook was simply a collection of recordings from human military operations during the war. Emperor Vorthak Prime had been sentenced to life in prison, but he spent most of his time writing. His memoirs were already becoming a bestseller across the galaxy. The title was How I Lost an Empire to People Who Thought War Was Funny. War Marshal Korthak had been given a reduced sentence in exchange for his cooperation in rebuilding the former empire's territory. He now worked as a consultant helping other species understand Vorthak technology and administrative systems. His most frequent comment to his new colleagues was, "I still do not understand how we lost to people who make jokes while being shot at." As President Cho finished her speech and the Congress moved on to other business, the galaxy continued its transformation. On thousands of worlds, children who had never been allowed to ask questions were now encouraged to be curious. Scientists, who had been forbidden to experiment, were now free to explore. Most importantly, people who had been taught to fear their governments were now learning to expect their governments to serve them.